Riyadh, 2015. A quiet night in an upscale residential area of the city is suddenly broken by the wail of police sirens. Flashing blue and red lights reflect off the marble walls of one of Riyadh's most luxurious mansions, the home of the Al-Mansour family. Khalil al-Mansour, a powerful businessman and head of the family, is found lying motionless at the foot of a grand staircase, his head smashed against the cold stone floor. Blood is oozing out, creating a horrifying scene that no one could have foreseen. At first, investigators easily concluded that this was an accident. Khalil, who may have slipped and fallen from the high stairs, died instantly. But as their eyes began to look more closely, every little detail began to reveal abnormalities. The scratches on Khalil's hands, the faint footprints on the stairs, and the unexplained signs of stress from Khalil's two sons, Amir and Yaseen, begin to raise suspicions. This magnificent mansion, once a symbol of success and fame, is now the center of a mysterious investigation. What really happened that night? Why, the more the police investigate, the more inexplicable details they uncover. The seemingly simple answers suddenly become unclear, as all the evidence begins to point to the strange and complicated relationship between Khalil's two sons. Was it an accident or something else? The police begin to realize that behind the lavishness of this house, a dark secret is gradually being exposed, a secret that could shake the wealthy and powerful Al-Mansour family. Khalil Alabama Mansour is a symbol of power and honor in Riyadh's high society. He is a successful businessman, strict and never tolerant of anyone who harms the family's honor. In the eyes of outsiders, Khalil is the ideal father, the respected pillar of a perfect family. But hidden deep beneath that authoritative shell are cracks that no one can see. Amir, 28 years old, Khalil's wife's son from a previous marriage, has always been the perfect model of a responsible son. In the eyes of Khalil and everyone around him, Amir is the embodiment of obedience and devotion, always living to please his stepfather and maintain the family's honor. But inside Amir, an inner storm is silently raging. He carries complex emotions that no one knows about, emotions that the conservative Muslim society will never forgive. Yaseen, 24, Khalil's biological son, is the complete opposite of Amir. Yaseen is the embodiment of rebellion and a thirst for freedom. He cannot stand his father's strict control and does not want to be forced to live by the harsh traditional standards. Yaseen wants to escape his restricted life, to find the freedom he feels he deserves. But what Yaseen desires is more than just freedom. It is a relationship between him and Amir that goes beyond the limits of normal brotherhood. What no one knows, not even Khalil, the most observant father, is the secret relationship between Amir and Yaseen. It is not a simple family love. It is a forbidden love in a strict Muslim society, where homosexuality is not only shameful, but considered an unforgivable sin. Their relationship is a deadly secret, one that, if exposed, will not only destroy the Al-Mansour family, but also put them in mortal danger before the law. Amidst the mask of perfection that this family has always built, Amir and Yaseen secretly build a dangerous relationship. The secret moments, stolen glances, and fleeting touches between the two brothers are what only they know. But every second, they know that the end of this love can only be a disaster. What they do not expect is that the tragedy does not stop at the judgment of society, but will soon drag the whole family into a storm of rage from which no one can escape. Why is Khalil, who always tightly controls everything in the family, unaware of this relationship? And when the truth is revealed, who will be the one to pay the price for the secrets that the Al-Mansour family is trying to hide? This love affair, once discovered, not only threatens to destroy the lives of Amir and Yaseen, but also pushes their family into a spiral of inevitable tragedy. Amir and Yaseen were very close since childhood. Although Amir was Yaseen's mother's child from a previous marriage, there was no distance between them. They grew up together in the large Al-Mansour family home, sharing childhood secrets and carefree moments of play. Amir, with his calm and responsible nature, was always the perfect older brother in Yaseen's eyes. He took care of Yaseen like a real older brother, protecting and guiding him through each stage of adulthood. But as they both entered adulthood, this relationship began to change. Amir noticed a difference in his feelings for Yaseen, a feeling that went beyond the boundaries of normal brotherly love. The fleeting touches, the longer-than-usual glances made Amir's heart beat faster. Yaseen was no longer the innocent boy he once protected. He has grown up, become strong and charming in a way that Amir could not have imagined. Their feelings for each other develop silently and secretly. At first, they think it is just a brotherly bond, but gradually, their true feelings cannot be denied. The chance encounters in the hallway or the private moments in the room become the starting point of a forbidden love affair. Amir, with his serious and far-sighted personality, always tries to prevent himself from thinking about the impossible. But with Yaseen, the rebellion in him pushes him to not want to stop. Amir always lives with a constant fear. He knows that the love between him and Yaseen is unforgivable in the eyes of Muslim society. In Riyadh, homosexuality is not only considered taboo but also severely punished under Islamic law. Amir is not only afraid of what will happen if discovered, but also worried about the consequences for his family's honor. Khalil, his stepfather, is a strict and patriarchal man. If he found out the truth, it would not only destroy Amir's career and life, but also bring shame and social ostracism to the Al-Mansour family. Amir's inner conflict grows. He loves Yaseen, but he also knows that this love will not end well. There are nights when he lies awake in his room, thinking about the future and what he is giving up. Yaseen is everything to him, but he knows that this relationship can never survive in the light. Guilt weighs heavily on Amir's shoulders every time he looks in the mirror and wonders how much longer he can endure. While Amir is scared and anxious, Yaseen yearns for freedom. He does not want to continue living in the dark, hiding and afraid of society's judgment. Yaseen, with her stubborn and rebellious personality, decides that he does not want to hide anymore. He wants to break down all barriers and be true to himself. Yaseen loves Amir, and he is willing to risk everything to be true to his love. In their conversations, Yaseen often pressures Amir to make a choice. "We can't live like this forever, Amir. You have to face it. If we don't face the truth, we will both be forever in fear." Amir, although he knows that Yaseen is right, can't get over his fear of the consequences. Every time he sees Yaseen's determined gaze, he feels his heart shatter a little more. He wants to free them both, but how can he when all paths lead to destruction? As the relationship between Amir and Yaseen deepened, Khalil, the strict stepfather, began to notice something unusual. Khalil was a powerful and harsh man who believed that everything in the family had to be tightly controlled. For him, honor and power were two core elements that could not be compromised. He did not allow any mistakes, especially those that could tarnish the image of the Al-Mansour family in society. Khalil often observed his two sons, and he began to notice the strange intimacy between Amir and Yaseen. The glances exchanged, the tense silences between the two brothers could not escape his sharp eyes. Khalil, being cautious by nature, repeatedly asked his wife, Sahar, about the relationship between the two. But Sahar, always believing that it was just a brotherly bond, did not notice anything unusual. However, Khalil was not easily fooled. He began to secretly observe, looking for evidence to clarify his suspicions. The times he accidentally saw Amir and Yaseen standing too close to each other, the seemingly unintentional hand touches made Khalil unable to ignore. Gradually, he realized that something was very wrong going on in his family. The suspicion in Khalil's heart grew, and he decided to clarify everything before it was too late. Khalil's expressions did not escape Amir's eyes. Amir, who was already too sensitive to the changes around him, quickly realized that his stepfather was suspicious. This only made Amir more worried and stressed. Every time Khalil asked, Amir felt the pressure weighing on his shoulders. Yaseen, on the other hand, did not care about his father's suspicions. He even wanted everything to explode, to be able to break all the limits and be true to himself. But Khalil did not give up easily. He secretly investigated, And the more he learned, the more he found himself drawn into a mysterious vortex. Step by step, Khalil got closer to the truth about the secret relationship between his two sons, a truth he had never imagined. And when he discovered it, nothing would be the same again. That fateful night, everything in the Al-Mansour house was quiet, except for the sound of the wind whistling outside through the windows. Khalil al-Mansour, with his suspicious and controlling nature, could not sleep well. The unusual signs from his two sons, Amir and Yaseen, had troubled him for weeks. That night, he decided to check and unexpectedly found Amir and Yaseen in an undeniable intimate moment. Standing in the darkness of the hallway, Khalil froze, his eyes blazing with anger. His heart felt like it was about to explode. Khalil rushed forward in a rage, unable to speak immediately. But when he faced his two children, he exploded. "I will kill you. The honor of this family will not be tarnished by such abominations." Khalil's voice screamed, like a knife cutting through the air. Amir and Yaseen froze in fear, looking into their father's furious eyes. The fight broke out immediately. Khalil rushed to attack, his hands gripping Amir's collar. Yaseen tried to stop him, but to no avail. In his panic, Amir fought back his instinct to defend himself, and in that moment he accidentally pushed Khalil down the stairs. Time seemed to slow down. The sound of Khalil's body hitting the stairs echoed in the quiet space. When Khalil hit the ground, he was no longer moving. Khalil died on the spot. A haunting silence fell over the mansion. Amir and Yaseen stood still, their eyes fixed on their father's motionless body. They realized that there was no way back. Hiding the truth was the only option. In a panic, the two decided to make the scene look like an accident. Amir fixed everything, erasing the traces of the fight, while Yaseen concocted a story about her father slipping and falling. In a state of fear and despair, they thought they could fool the police. But how long could the truth be hidden? Riyadh police were called to the Al-Mansour mansion in the early hours of that morning. They entered the lavish home where Khalil al-Mansour, a wealthy and powerful businessman, had been found dead at the bottom of a staircase. With years of experience in handling similar cases, they quickly determined the initial cause, a fall down the stairs. Khalil's two sons, Amir and Yaseen, appeared distraught, saying that their father had slipped and fallen while going down the stairs late at night. The initial details seemed straightforward, but something in the air made the investigators uncomfortable. As they looked more closely, unusual signs began to appear. A scratch on Khalil's hand, not from a fall, but possibly the result of a struggle. Footprints on the steps also did not match the story told by Amir and Yaseen. Even the unusually anxious expressions of the two sons make the police suspect that this death is not as simple as they initially thought. During the investigation, a new character enters the case: Hadi, Yaseen's best friend. He visits the family, and in a casual conversation with one of the investigators, Hadi suddenly reveals a piece of information that completely changes the atmosphere of the case. "I don't want to get involved in this, but I think you should know. Amir and Yaseen, they are not just brothers," Hadi says, looking worried. Silence falls as Hadi reveals the taboo relationship between the two brothers, a homosexual affair that both have kept secret for so long. This information shocks the police. According to Islamic law, such a relationship is not only considered sinful but can also lead to serious consequences. The story of Khalil's death suddenly becomes much more complicated than they thought. With this taboo relationship, the police begin to question, did something happen the night Khalil died? Did Khalil find out about his son's affair, and this led to a deadly confrontation? The police decide to question Amir and Yaseen again. At first, both of them stick to their story about the accident, but when asked about their relationship, they become flustered. The signs of tension become more obvious. The contradictions in their statements gradually become apparent. Amir tries to keep his composure, but his eyes are averted, while Yaseen becomes more tense than ever. Through the interrogation, the truth gradually emerges. Khalil discovered the forbidden relationship on the night of his death, and his anger led to a deadly fight. The police now have a completely different view of the case. Khalil did not die from a simple fall down the stairs. He died in a confrontation with his own sons. His secret relationship and family conflicts led to his death, and now Amir and Yaseen must face the inevitable consequences. On the day of the trial, the entire city of Riyadh seemed to hold its breath. This was not just a simple murder trial, but a shocking case involving the honor of one of the most powerful families. Amir and Yaseen, the two sons of Khalil al-Mansour, were facing justice. They sat at the front, their eyes tense and thoughtful as they faced a court that was not only trying their father's death, but also their relationship that was considered taboo. In the cold space of the courtroom, whispers began to spread among the attendees. Reporters, journalists, and the upper class were all present to witness the downfall of a prestigious family. Cold eyes followed every little movement of the two brothers, while the jury sat motionless, listening to every accusation. The prosecutor opened with strong accusations, asserting that Khalil's death was not an accident, but the result of a violent confrontation. He described the events of that night in detail. "We don't just have a father who fell down the stairs, we have two sons who were also victims." The prosecutor emphasized the inconsistencies in Amir and Yaseen's testimony and argued that Khalil had discovered something serious, a secret that was enough to make him angry, leading to the fight. The prosecutor did not stop there. He presented evidence of the forbidden relationship between the two brothers, a love affair that was forbidden not only by society but also by Islamic law. He pointed out that Khalil's anger at discovering this secret was the cause of the tragedy of that fateful night. When Amir took the stand, he was no longer as calm as he had been in the early days. In a trembling but determined voice, Amir testified that he had not meant to kill his father, that Khalil's death was an accident during his attack on the two brothers. "I just wanted to protect Yaseen," Amir said, looking down at the floor, avoiding the courtroom. Yaseen, on the other hand, remained silent for most of the trial. He refused to admit anything beyond what he had already said. His silence only added to the tension, as if he knew that no words could salvage the situation. Finally, Amir and Yaseen's defense attorneys attempted to reduce the charges, arguing that the confrontation that led to Khalil's death was a family tragedy, not a planned murder. He insisted that the situation was too tense, and Amir had reacted in a moment of panic. But the jury seemed unmoved by this defense. Finally, the judge announced his verdict. The entire courtroom seemed to freeze as the judge spoke. The sentence for Amir al-Mansour is death for murder and for violating the law on homosexuality. Yaseen al-Mansour is sentenced to life imprisonment for complicity and for homosexuality. Silence fell over the courtroom. Amir bowed his head, his shoulders shaking as he heard the verdict, while Yaseen remained silent, filled with discontent. They knew this ending was inevitable, but the bitterness and despair were still evident on their faces. The trial was over, but its echoes would forever echo in the minds of those who witnessed it. A powerful family, once revered in high society, had now become a symbol of tragedy and ruin. Not only had they lost their father, but both brothers had been drawn into a spiral of destruction from which they could not escape. Amir stood before the court with remorse in his eyes, but that could not change his fate. The death sentence had been pronounced, not only for the murder of his father, but also for homosexuality, which was strictly forbidden in Muslim society. The crowd witnessed Amir's public execution as a strong warning to protect honor and morality in society. Yaseen, Amir's younger brother, is not spared either. He was sentenced to life in prison for homosexuality and complicity in his father's death. For Yaseen, life in prison was not only physical punishment but also mental torment, as he had to face the haunting of the forbidden love he had once wanted to preserve. Alone, he lived long days with no way out. Hadi, who had provided the police with important information about the relationship between Amir and Yaseen, was not prosecuted, but the mental torment followed him. It was Hadi's revelation that indirectly pushed everything towards the inevitable tragedy. After the trial, Hadi decided to leave the city, carrying with him a lingering sense of guilt, knowing that he could not fix what had happened.